In this installment of Mike's Vehicle Vlogs, we're going to talk about another car that I have owned for about 4 years, and that is the 2008 Pontiac Grand Prix. Now, unlike all of the other cars that I've owned, in which I've talked about in this series so far, this one's going to be slightly different because I'm actually on my way to go talk to the current owner of this Pontiac Grand Prix. If you've been a long-term subscriber to the channel, you too may already know who owns the Grand Prix. If you're just now joining us, stick around and find out who the owner is, and let's see what they think about owning the Grand Prix. This is Mike's Vehicle Vlogs, episode 11. By now, I think a lot of you guys may have realized that I have been a huge Pontiac fan ever since I was little. And just about every car that I have owned has been a Pontiac. My first car was a Pontiac, my second car was a Pontiac, my third car was an Oldsmobile, but it was a variation of a Pontiac. My fourth car was a Pontiac. My fifth car was a Pontiac, and my sixth car is now a Ford. But not necessarily because of the fact that I don't like Pontiac. I absolutely love Pontiac. The problem is there's no more Pontiac in existence. And if Pontiac was still making cars years ago that I can get today, I most likely would still be owning Pontiac. I've loved every Pontiac that I've owned. Well, for the most part, I've loved every Pontiac that I've owned. But, like I've said it before, Pontiacs are awesome. They're sporty, they're fun to drive, they're fun to look at. I mean, Pontiac was a good brand. And in today's vlog, we're going to talk about the last Pontiac that I will probably have ever owned, which was my 2008 Pontiac Grand Prix. Again, if you are a long-term subscriber to this channel, you know this car pretty much from day one since I've owned it, because I've had various videos on this car on my channel, regardless of what it is. There's always something in regards to this car posted on my YouTube channel. So, how did I come across this 2008 Pontiac Grand Prix? Well, let me tell you how I came across this Grand Prix. I was being faced with a decision of whether I wanted to keep my Aztek and worry about putting in a transmission or such that I couldn't afford at the time. Do I keep the Aztek, or should I just... is it time to get something else? I had the Aztek for 4 years and 2 months, I believe. And right around that 4-year, 2-month mark, I was filming an MVS feature at one of my dealerships, and the Grand Prix was just there. I was actually done filming for the day, and I was walking back into the dealership to return the keys of the cars that, I was filming. I was walking back in, and I just happened to notice this Grand Prix sitting in the used car section of this dealership, and I just, I wanted to look at it. So I got the key, and I went and just, opened it up, and I looked around, and I just kind of fell in love with it right there. I actually had the whole thing documented from the very first time that I saw the car. So the footage you're about to see are actually clips of my very first encounter with this 2008 Pontiac Grand Prix.
2008 Pontiac Grand Prix. I saw it back here and I was like, this looks pretty sharp. Take a look at it, see if maybe it's something I could consider. Tires look pretty good, actually. Oh yeah, those are like brand new. Looks like it's in really good shape. It's got 86,000 miles on it. Comes with remote start too. It looks really clean. I love these kinds of seats. Ooh. It's pretty comfy. Power seat. A little bit of a squeak on the hinge, but that's okay. A little WD-40 fix. It's got the same stereo I have in the Aztec without the cassette. Perfect leather on this shifter. Well, let's go ahead and start it up. Tire pressure warning, no big deal. Stereo's burnt out like on mine. Sometimes if you tap them they'll come back on, but it's common with that stereo because of the backlight. That might be a 6-disc CD changer, I don't know. It's got the button for it, but back here everything feels all like slimy, or not slimy, but like dry because of that stuff that they put on these dashboards and stuff to make it look shiny. Thanks, big trunk. I like it.
Alright, number 3, yes, Kendra Wilkinson.
3800 V6. Doesn't sound too bad. Used up all my camera memory already. It's amazing. Alright. This thing's got some power, I can hear it. No jerkiness in the transmission between gears. I like it.
Now, I fell in love with this Grand Prix, and the day after that I filmed that, I went back the day after because I actually wanted to take it out on a test drive. And boy, was this car fun. This car was just a base model. It was a 2008, so I'm pretty positive that it was probably a fleet vehicle. Because it had options and such that you couldn't get on a base unless it was for fleet purposes. So I'm pretty sure, and you know what, the Carfax is downstairs in one of my junk boxes. I'll have to see if I can bring it up here before this vlog's over. But I'm pretty sure that it was a rental car. And I know people are really weary of buying rental cars for a couple of different reasons. because the big reason is because they take abuse. People, irresponsible people, rent cars and they treat them as if they are not their own cars. They just kind of, you do all kinds of things with rental cars. Look it up on YouTube. It's ridiculous the things that people do to these cars. Well, the bright side of buying a car that has been once used as a fleet or a rental car is that 9 times out of 10 they are well maintained. The oil is always changed at the right intervals. Any problem with the cars are usually taken care of immediately because these cars are like a public service for other people. So, anything that can go wrong, the rental company obviously can't be liable for it. They don't want to be liable for it. So, these cars are maintained for all kinds of reasons like that. And the mileage on these cars, you're always going to find something high mileage, of course, if it's a fleet. But, at the same time, there's still a little bit of peace of mind knowing that, well, this car was serviced when it should have been serviced. I took the car out on this first test drive, and I fell in love with the way it drove. It was fun. It had a lot of pep. I mean, this car was just, I don't know. There's something about this car. I fell in love with it. But yet I was faced with a dilemma. Should I get rid of my Aztec, which I have loved and adored for 4 years and 2 months? Should I get rid of it for this completely new, vehicle, this Grand Prix? A part of me still wishes I did not, because if you've watched my video, my 51-minute video on my '03 Aztec, you can kind of understand why this kind of was a really tough decision for me to make. I didn't go back right away to buy the Grand Prix. I actually waited a few days to think it over and to kind of determine if I wanted to jump into another car or if I should just, wait for the Aztec's transmission to bum out and just kind of worry about where I was going to get the money to pay for a transmission. Because I was working part-time at the time, so I wasn't making enough income for me to really do anything except pay my bills, keep up with my car, and I didn't have the extra money to throw away on a transmission, so you can kind of understand. Whereas I was given the opportunity to, jump into this new car without a down payment or anything and still be able to afford everything else. That's kind of what I was facing. So a couple of days later, the Grand Prix was still there, and I had made the decision to go for it and just get the Grand Prix.
Farewell, my friend. You've been great, and I will miss you.
Oh my gosh, how?
Ready for it?
It's a little dirty now. It was clean yesterday when they gave it to me. But it snowed and it rained. Actually, it was mostly all snow, but
the color is known as liquid silver metallic. I love silver, if you haven't noticed already. The interior was just, in the ebony color scheme. It had the basic cloth seats. The seats were very comfortable. That was one of the things I loved, is the sports. The seats were designed in a sport fashion, so you had nice large side bolsters that hugged onto you really well in this car, and I just loved having those seats. They just they contour to the body so well. I loved the dashboard design on the inside. I mean, I loved the large instrument cluster, and the dashboard controls are all, just in a straight setup. It's very clean looking. There was a driver information center at the top of the center stack that had a whole bunch of information, and that one is actually the optional driver information display. It had the 5-button setup instead of the 3 buttons, so it actually gave us a couple of additional informative sections compared to the base in driver information display. It had a CD player with a great sound system. The great sound system that I love the sound system in this car too. Controls on the steering wheel. I loved all the silver accents on the steering wheel and the center console. It had the chrome accents around the air bezels, which again was part of the Fleet because it's a base model. So the Fleet models actually included those rings around the bezels, which I thought was a nice classy touch. The handling of the Grand Prix, the steering is, the way I like to describe it is it's tight. It wasn't so loose, but it was tight, and the response that you get out of the steering when you turn the wheel was like on demand. And that was the thing that the Grand Prix was known for, is how well it handled because of its I believe they called it the wide track stance. So the car was wider for a reason, and it hugs the corners and such for a better sport feel. The ride was a lot more, rougher. It was rougher than the Aztec was, but then again, it's a sports sedan, so it's not going to be the most comfortable car in the world. My Grand Prix had the base 3800 Series 3 V6, which put out 200 horsepower, and I believe it was 230 pound-feet of torque. And this engine, is, it was an amazing power plant. The one thing that I really liked about it was that it was the Series 3. So I kind of went into this car not worrying about any head gasket or intake gasket issues, because the Series 3 engine was supposed to have corrected all of GM's past flaws when it came to this gasket design. So even today, I know that this car is still running strong without any gasket issues whatsoever. The downside to having the Grand Prix was I don't know, maybe it wasn't such a downside because a part of me had kind of missed driving a regular car. So it was nice to be able to have a car again that you can actually kind of have fun driving. You can make those, fun turns and stuff. You can't really do that with an Aztec because it's a little higher up off the ground, and you misbehave too much in a car like an Aztec, you're going to end up flipping it, or you can't have that kind of fun. The Grand Prix gave me the opportunity to have fun. Responsibly, of course. I wouldn't drive like a maniac or anything like that. But another downside was, the fact that I was in a car again. So I lost all of my versatility privileges and such. I really liked having all that with the Aztec. I liked sitting up high, whereas the Grand Prix, I'm lower to the road, and so almost immediately I already kind of missed having my Aztec for just the versatility purposes. There's not a whole lot that I'm going to talk about with the Grand Prix because, like I said, just about everything's been documented over the years. There were some, really bizarre problems that I've had with the Grand Prix over the course of me owning it. And it's funny because the Aztec gave me some interesting problems too. Problems that you don't normally think of when you think of problems that might arise from a vehicle. First major problem that I had with the Grand Prix was the power steering. It was actually leaking from behind the driver's side front tire, where there's there's a boot there, a rubber boot that comes off of the rack for the steering system, and it was torn, and there was fluid coming out of it. So I found out that this seemed to have been one of the more common issues on a Grand Prix. The steering racks would eventually be failing in that specific spot, and I guess from what I found out, you can't replace just that part. So the whole rack and pinion system had to be replaced. Within the first couple months of me owning the car, I noticed that certain CDs weren't playing well in the CD player. You can hear the CD go into the slot, and you can hear the motor spinning, trying to spin the CD, but it sounded like it wasn't grabbing a hold of the CD. So you would hear the CD make a noise like, it's slipping. It sounds like it's slipping on the inside. I went ahead and I actually ordered a brand new factory stereo, which was the exact same model as the one that my Grand Prix came with, only it was never used. It was entirely brand new. It had plastic on the display screen, and it had never been touched. It was all new. So I installed that, and it worked perfectly fine. It was fine for maybe about a year or so, and then the same problem arose. So I didn't buy a new CD player this time. What I did was I discovered that if I took the stereo apart, I can take the actual CD drive apart and open or put little pieces of electrical tape on the top plastic piece that comes down when the CD's in the slot. It comes down, and then it'll grab a hold of the CD and allow the thing to actually spin, because electrical tape is it's kind of rubbery, so it had some sort of grip to hold on to, and that scenario or that solution, I should say, worked really well. It worked perfectly. So after I had that, I didn't have any issues with it for the remaining time that I've had the car. Now, all the time that that tape was on there, probably wasn't until a few months ago that the owner of this Grand Prix got a hold of me and asked me, what the problem with the CD player was, and I told him, well, it might be this. So we brought it over, took the stereo out, and I reapplied some new tape, and it just turned out that the tape had finally started coming apart on the inside. So we added some new tape, and it's good to go again. The big problem that I had with the Grand Prix that was a mystery for such a long time was this really weird back and forth motion that the transmission would do if you were reaching about 40 miles an hour. This was an issue that lasted for the majority of the time that I had owned this car. Like I said, I was already worried that my Aztec was going to have a bum transmission at one point. I had probably owned this Grand Prix for a year and a half, and I started noticing this really weird hesitation when you want to accelerate the car gently anywhere around 40 miles an hour. But it just seemed like it was hesitating to go into the gear. Like it didn't want to go into the correct gear if you were slowly trying to accelerate this car. Now, if you stomped on the pedal, this car shifts fine. It goes into the correct gear and it takes off. But if you were sitting around 40 miles an hour and you just wanted to go to 45, so you gently ease it, you get this, and I had no idea why it was doing that. So I started doing some research, and I started doing some things to try to correct this issue. I thought maybe it was the mass airflow sensor, so I tore that apart and I cleaned it. And then I thought, well, maybe the throttle body need cleaning, so I took apart the the air hose and such, and bought some throttle body cleaner and tried to scrub out the throttle body. And I tried replacing the map sensor, but that didn't seem to correct it. I just kept resetting the battery, or unhooking the battery every time that issue came up, and it was gone for a while. The reduced engine power issues were coming up. Probably started a few months before I decided to get another car, and to this day I still don't know exactly what the issue was. The check engine light comes on, and then there's a reduced engine power warning that shows up on the driver information center. And when the reduced engine power light is on, you can't really take off at a standstill very fast. You can floor the accelerator pedal down to the floor, and the car is going to slowly creep to speed. So never really found out what the issue was, but usually there's usually two problems that can arise, or two solutions that can arise from that. I had it scanned when the light was still on, and it either comes up as the accelerator pedal itself might need to be replaced, or the actual the throttle body itself might need to be replaced. And it was really weird because I noticed it was doing it during a certain time of the morning when it was like, really dewy or something outside. And I thought, well, I don't think it's necessarily affected by the accelerator pedal. I think it's the actual throttle body. There's something going on with the throttle body. The throttle actuator controller is what it's called. It's the motor that controls the throttle body when you step on the pedal. And in case you don't know, this engine here is a drive-by-wire, so there's no cable that runs from the gas pedal to the throttle body. It's all electronic. So I actually made the attempt to go to a junkyard, and I bought a throttle body just so I can get this actuator controller off of the throttle body and put it on mine to see what it would do. Because a new throttle body for this car is a couple $100. You got to worry about having a dealership program it and stuff. I didn't really think about that when I bought the junkyard part, so I swapped it out and I put the actuator on my throttle body, and it ran worse.
Nothing. There it goes.
Yeah, I think what it came down to was it was going to have to be programmed to the car. The problem is you can't drive with it on because the car is not going to go anywhere. The accelerator pedal doesn't do anything with this part. So once I put the old one back on, I cleaned it off, I hooked it all back up, and I put it back on the throttle body, and I didn't have that problem again. It just disappeared. So I don't know what it was, but it never happened to me again. This situation did happen once with the new owner, but I haven't heard about it ever since. So it came back one day and it was gone, and that was months ago. I don't know. Again, weird problem that you don't expect. You don't think of it. My battery's dying. I have to plug my camera in real quick. Here's the Carfax. This is what I wanted to read off a little bit because I was technically the third owner of the car. Yeah, so the very first owner, I thought so. It was a rental car. It was a rental car for 1 year and 1 month. The second owner, who bought it then, owned it for 2 years and 3 months, and they managed to put a lot of miles on it too, of course. The car was actually originally purchased in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So the car came from Virginia as of August 17th, 2007. That was the very first title issue. It had 5 miles on the odometer. The second owner bought the car actually from the dealership that I got it at. It ended up at my dealership, the one that I bought it at. They bought it in December of 2008. 27,352 miles on the odometer. I still have the manual too. You know, I always keep the manuals. There's something that I never give up. But the manuals. I noticed for this year, the pages seem to be a little bit thinner and flimsier than the pages of past owner's manuals, which is really interesting in my opinion. So there's that. There was the warranty book and the Getting to Know Your 2008 Grand Prix book, which is just like a little quick read if you need to look something up real quick without going through the manual, like the stereo and such. I lived in a house with a couple of other friends of mine, and my one friend at the time had a trailer because he ran like a production company, so he'd keep all of his sound equipment and stuff in the trailer. And one morning when he was leaving for work, he unhooked the trailer to go to work from his vehicle. He unhooked the trailer, but he didn't chock the wheel right, and the trailer drifted down the driveway, and the hitch of the trailer went right into my door. So it carved in through the paint and left a nice gash in the door. So, yeah, that was that story. He at first was going to offer to pay it, but then he decided that he wasn't going to own up to it, and I wasn't going to deal with it. I just, you know, whatever. He'll get his. That's all I thought. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at who owns this Grand Prix now and what they themselves think about owning it.
Hi, my name is Tyler Adams, and it's very cold outside. But this is my car. This is a 2008 Pontiac Grand Prix, and the person behind the camera right now was the previous owner of it, and I got it from him last year, just a little over a year ago in October. It was a little warmer then and sunny, and there wasn't that much snow on the ground. First and foremost, one of the biggest things for me, no pun intended, about this car that I like is that it's big. It's a little dirty right now, so just ignore that. It's a bunch of salt. As you can tell, there's a reason for all the salt and all the grime. But it's a pretty big car. It's got good size to it. It's very wide. It's very low to the ground. It's I can't imagine myself in a tiny car. And when Mike came to me about this, I was like, yeah, that's a pretty good car. So first and foremost, I like the size of it. I also, obviously, I like the horsepower. What am I rocking in this? If you guys watched the video of me doing the commentary on my car, you know how much I don't know about this car. What is this? What's in there?
3.8 liter.
3.8.
V6.
3.8 V6. Okay. It kicks, which is really cool. I had an Alero before that, and it was still a pretty good car, but it ran its course, and it was not good at all. So going from that to this was an easy leap. Obviously a very noticeable leap, but still, even after having it for over a year, I haven't noticed anything really bad about it. It's a really good car. You should get a close-up of the payphone we still have over there.
There's a payphone.
It has the old Sprint logo on it and everything.
It does. Wow. Fascinating.
This is my place of work. No, if no one knows, this is where I work. I work at a baseball field. I'm the baseball player. I do all the stuff.
That's what he does.
No, I sell tickets. Again, I can't really compare this car to too many cars because I had one car owned previously before this. Obviously, I've driven my fair share of vehicles, but concerning comfort, you know, it's extremely comfortable, especially for the size of the car too. I never really had trouble with it. I still have trouble parking sometimes. I do. Like, I kind of misjudge how big the front end is, but handling is superb. I absolutely love the handling. I like a looser kind of feel. Like other cars that I've driven, they've been, you know, tighter. This one has a, you know, I feel like there's like more free range with it. Like the brakes are very responsive. You know, if I'm trying to accelerate, it's extremely responsive. When I first transitioned to this car, actually, I wasn't used to how sensitive the pedal was. So, like the smallest touch, I felt like I was flying, like going like 100 miles per hour. It's a pretty cool thing though. Yeah, just overall, just, you know, from a comfort handling kind of overall performance standpoint. Again, it's kind of hard for me to like compare, but in the year I've had it, I've had no issues with it, and it's been just a superb delight.
How do you feel about the looks of the interior?
A little outdated. I mean, obviously, it's 2008. I love this thing, but I am what's the word we're looking for? An early adopter of many new technologies, which means for me, I always like to have like the newest and latest things. I sound so spoiled, but I swear I'm not. It's just sorry. I just like to have the newest things. I like the big everything though. Like everything's very visual. It's now I sound like an old person, but I do like the speedometer, the gauges. Everything's large, which is nice.
They call those 3D gauges because the speedometer, you know,
Comes
floats
out
above
a
the other
little
ones.
more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool look. Surprisingly enough, one of the things that I dearly miss with my Alero is my tape, my cassette player, because, like I said, kind of connecting to the technology, this doesn't have like an aux cord or anything like that. This was probably just before that became a standard option on most vehicles. But in my Alero, which was a 99, I used the cassette to hook up my iPod, and I was able to listen to everything. But now all I have is this, you know, state-of-the-art CD player, which is not, again, it's not terrible, but I prefer to have more options, and ironically for me, that was a tape player.
Okay, speaking about that, what do you think about the audio system in the car?
Oh, that's one of the shiniest spots in this entire car. And I've heard it from other people too, where, you know, if I'm listening to something kind of louder, which right now, trust me, you're not going to get flagged for this, but right now I'm listening to acoustic music like Damien Rice, because I can't really give you, you know, a showcase for the sound, but it is spectacular. And there's no way for me to show it right now unless I pop something in, but I'm driving and I'm a safe driver. I'm already looking at you too much. I've been saying that like I don't vlog. Anyway, no, it thumps. It's very clear. I don't try to turn it up too loud because I want to preserve the speakers. But no, it's great. I love this sound system.
That's actually one of the things that I miss very most about this car.
I bet you do.
Because even though I put aftermarket speakers in the Escape, it sounds a lot better than the factory speakers did, but nothing compares to every Pontiac that I've had. Just about has had a really awesome sound system. They were just good at putting in good quality sound systems.
The Aztec was pretty good too.
The Aztec, that had a Pioneer sound system.
Yeah, that had Pioneer in it. That's right.
10
I miss
speakers.
The Aztec. Now that we're talking about that.
Wait till you see the video that I put on the Aztec. It's 51 minutes long. That's how much I had to talk about the car.
I did like the Aztec.
I've
always liked the Aztec.
Speaking of Aztec.
No way! What? What an odd day.
That's an old one.
One of the best thing about having this car is that you are obviously like the previous owner. So anything that I have problems with, or, you know, any kind of thing that's related to this vehicle, you obviously know it, which is really nice. And also I know there's not going to be like some unknown problem with it, unless you're holding out. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you about it. After like a year and a half, your brakes are just going to totally fail when you're going about 75 miles per hour. Oh, thanks.
You know, on a note related to that topic, like this car, and you guys watching this know now because I've probably already shown many footage clips of
Mini footage.
yeah, mini footage. I've probably shown a lot of footage of the car when I got it and such, but like I've documented just about everything with this car on film.
Yeah.
So like
No, you have.
so like every problem, just about every problem that I've had on this car and such, every little quirk, everything that I've tried to repair or whatnot is probably on YouTube already.
No, you're right. Yeah, so if I ever have a problem, I can just search. Actually, funny story. I was looking, what was it for? What was the problem? Oh, I was looking up, I had this problem with my power steering. This was just like over a month ago.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The, what line was it? The
high pressure line.
high pressure line blew on my power steering. But before I knew what the problem was, I Googled, searched like something for like 2008 Grand Prix, I don't know, like owner's manual, just something very generic. And the very first result that came out was a video on your channel of this car. I was like, no way, I'm watching Mike's channel right now. Because, no, that's what it was. I wanted to look at the overview to see what it looked like on the engine, because I identified the problem, I didn't know where it was. And the very first thing that I searched was your video. It just popped up. I wasn't searching for Mike, I was looking for 2008 Grand Prix, like engine or something like that, and his video came up.
Well, you were looking, he's referring to my original power steering leak that I had on the car. Oh, maybe it was
power steering
again.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I had a power steering problem with the car within the first year. Turned out the whole rack had to be replaced. Okay, since we've already kind of opened up the problem area of the car, what are the cons that you don't like about the Grand Prix?
First and foremost, and I believe this is something that you said, the gas mileage isn't too pretty. My commute to and from work is only about like 12 to 15 minutes, so I'm like, it's like a half an hour total each day. But I'm filling up almost weekly, even in that short, amount of time. Again, the Alero, like I had one car to compare it to. That was like slightly better, but with this much horsepower and this gigantic car, obviously it's going to take a lot of gas. So in the future, past this car, I'll probably be looking for something with a little more, miles per gallon, I guess.
Something to save, yeah.
After that, it's really tough to really pinpoint any kind of issue. I've had obviously the high pressure line blew, but that's from wear and tear. It's not something that's gonna happen on the regular. I've had really no issues at all beyond those little things. So when it comes to the negatives, I wish I had more to tell you. I wish there was more. I wish I was being more honest. But I have no issue with this. I overall think it handles well. I think it drives smoothly. It's never given me any issues. I have the remote starter, so on mornings like this, I get to sit in my house and turn the car on and let it warm up. So there's a lot more positives than negatives. And honestly,
that's a good thing.
Yeah. When
in a sense, we don't really want to hear we want to hear more positive things about.
And I wish I had more, especially for someone who's interested in maybe like a used Grand Prix, but geez. I don't think I have any more. I really don't. Here's something very small. The sway bar. This is what's called the sway bar.
Oh yeah, the back thing.
Yeah,
the back rattle.
I don't know. This happened with you, right? When you owned the car.
From the time that I've had the car, yeah. One of the rear sway bar bushings or something might be worn out. I've never had it replaced because my mechanic told me it's really nothing to worry about. I mean, it's just going to make noise.
That's the only, that's the smallest thing, is it makes noise, and it makes me feel like there's a bigger problem than there actually is, but there isn't. When I get to around 35, 40 miles per hour, it feels like the car's shaking, and kind of touching base with, talking to Mike about the previous owner and having that as a luxury. I went to him and I asked him hey Mike, why is my car shaking? Is it the transmission? And he's like, nah, it's not a big issue, it's this. And what was it? I don't even know what it was. It's something with the computer.
It's actually in the transmission, but it's...
Oh, okay.
Because the funny thing about this, I'm glad we're talking about this, because a lot of people have seen videos that I've put on this car doing this thing for years. And it's one of the solenoids in the transmission. When it goes from...
A solenoid.
Solenoid, yes. And when it goes from like third to fourth gear around 40 miles an hour or so. If you're trying to slightly accelerate, it does like this.
Rocks.
Yeah, it does like this rocking back and forth thing. Like it doesn't know, well, should I go to the next gear or not? But if you stomp on the accelerator, it shifts perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So
I usually let go just for like a slight second if it's doing it. I'll let go and then go back and it'll stop. I don't let it stomp.
It's weird. Like once it goes over a certain threshold, it's fine. But I've discovered that if you unhook the battery for, you know, like the first time I did it, I had it disconnected for an hour. And then I hooked it back up and it resets the computer and stuff. It resets the PCM and the BCM and stuff. So the transmission in a sense gets reprogrammed as you start driving again. The shifting sequences get reprogrammed, and that therefore leads to it shifting better for a period of time. But then periodically it comes back, so we just unhook the battery again.
Well, to answer your question, I kind of deviated from it. It has not. It's done it a couple times, but it hasn't been frequent at all. And now that I know how to fix a problem, if it ever happens again, I'll just, you know, unhook the battery.
It's really strange.
Again, there aren't many problems in this car that, you know, require excessive attention, which is nice. You know, everything's very easily fixable.
Do you already kind of know what you're going to do after you're done paying on the car? Like, are you going to get rid of it immediately? Do you want to keep it longer?
I am.
Do you have your eye on a new, what you want to get already? Like,
I don't. However, I do, and this is just like, you know, something that I want but I'm not going to have. It's like the new Malibu, which is like the strangest thing to talk about, but I always have. I've been pulled toward that Malibu, but I don't think, like, once I pay off this car, I think I'm gonna just hold on to it as long as possible. Like, I in my opinion, like, one of my philosophies in life is, actually there's two. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And like, why replace something when you already have it? So, like, you know, if I don't need a new car, I'm not gonna replace it. I'm gonna keep this as long as possible. Oh, that's the snow. It's, you know, snow piles.
yeah.
Just kidding, it was a little child. Don't tell anyone that just happened. Oh, looks like we have a new neighbor.
Oh no.
They have a Honda Civic.
Is it really? Is that who lives here now?
I don't know. We've been anticipating a new neighbor because the real estate company has been going in and out. But that's beyond the fact. It's not about the car.
That's true. And what's the mileage on the car reading at now?
This one?
Yeah.
That's not it, is it?
No.
It's this one.
Yeah, 145, 173. And to think
that's surprising though, really.
And to think that when I got it, it had about 87,000 on it when I had it.
Most of that is you. Do you remember when I took it over, how much was on there?
135?
Yeah, I think it was 135.
So you put about 10
in a year.
And you know what sucks is I had trip B reset from the day that I bought the car to keep track of the lifelong, but somewhere down the line in like 2012 or 2013 it got reset. So that is whatever was driven since like either 2012 or 2013. But
what's that say? Average
speed
25 miles per hour. See, I'm a safe driver.
All right, well, hey, thank you for agreeing to do this update
You're
vlog
welcome.
on the Grand Prix and
This
such.
was a good time. I enjoyed it. I actually just enjoyed being around cameras again. No, it's been a good time. Thank you.
All right, and I guess we'll go back to my studio now.
Just you.
Just me.
All right.
Bye. You know, I figured a lot of you guys were gonna know it was my brother anyway. But, you know, I wanted to keep the suspense going for the people who haven't really seen this channel yet and didn't know that. So, yeah, so it's good to know that, you know, the Grand Prix is actually still running strong. It's still being a really, really awesome car. And like he said, you know, there's really not much that has really happened with it since it was, you know, since I took it out of my hands. So that pretty much concludes the story of the 2008 Pontiac Grand Prix, which, like I said, will probably be the last Pontiac I ever own. If you guys want to see more video clips of this Grand Prix, including maintenance videos that I've done, or how-to videos with things on the car, or even the MVS feature that Tyler and myself did a couple years back. Look through the videos on this channel. They're all still up and running, so you could just look for them there. If you enjoyed this video here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and just let me know what you think about these vlog videos. Don't forget to check out Mike's Vehicle Spotlight. That is the official vehicle touring segment that I post here on this channel. So thank you guys again for watching. Hope you enjoyed this vlog, and I'll see you guys next time. So take care.